Good evening, everybody. We are getting ready to start here, and we have a very special guest with us this evening. I have Ian Klein, aka Lego Pizza. I'm sure a lot of people will have some questions, and by a lot, I mean our massive fan base of 30 people. No, I'm just kidding. Here today. And as usual, I have Andrew with me, and I have Brandon back with me as well this week. And we're gonna go ahead and we got pretty good episode today, I think. We're going to talk about a little bit about it's the last month of PQ, so we're going to touch on that and about the meta and everything before Galactics. And then we've also got Set 5 coming right around the corner, so we're going to talk about the new stuff coming in that's been spoiled, some things that we still want, possibly. I know there's some leaks running around, so maybe comment on what we think about those. And then I do a couple shout-outs at the end for some friends. But first, I want to thank Ian for joining us. Really excited to have you here. The Bantha Network is a friend of Team Sekrit, and it's always cool to go ahead and have, more friends, more guests on here just to talk Star Wars, just to share ideas and just talk about the game that we love to play. We spend so much time on it that it's really fun. So I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Super awesome to be here. Love your guys' live podcast. I think it's super dope. No one else is really doing that right now, so always like being able to like chat with people while we're doing it. I think that's like a really cool, innovative way to do it. So super happy to be here, and I mean I've been playing in PQs with you guys since before you guys were even a team. So yeah. This is it's dope. Yeah, love you guys a lot.
Yeah, I think the first time we had met was Baltimore. That's the first time all of you ran the gauntlet on all of us. It was you were playing Han Yellow, and we had talked about it, and the tech was Grogu. That was like the card that we were talking about. Like, yeah, we were thinking about this, but we couldn't figure out the Sabine matchup, and it turned out it was just Grogu. That was the card that like made that matchup win.
Yeah, it was Grogu and Cloud Rider, and that initial build of Han Yellow was like the big one for Sabine, and then. Also, just like hoping my opponent didn't understand the tech DJ interaction, and if I ever get to like pull it off and they just like don't flip their Sabine, then it's GG. Which did happen in the top 8 of that 2K against not yet sector winner Will O'Neill. Fun fact.
That's crazy to think that we've all been playing competing that far back. That's wild.
It was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a year ago, and, like, it's 11 months ago or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. May the 4th was the 4K in Richmond, and that's where I met John Tata. And I actually remember he gave me a death stare because it was so late at night, and we had just finished. It was a cut to top 16, and we just finished, and I was the last one to finish, and I'm, like, walking over, and they're all, like, the speech about, okay, we're gonna split prizes and cash. You have to sign the note anonymously, and I'm just standing there and I see John just staring at me, just angry death stare. Like, I'm going to murder you if you do not sign this paper that says split, because we all want to leave. And we ended up
That's
splitting
great.
It was tons of fun.
I wish I could have gone to that event. It was my like best friend's birthday that weekend. His birthday always just falls on May the 4th.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the event was happening, and I already told him I was going to go to his birthday party. So I was pretty bummed because it was like the first big SWU event, and I was like obviously super excited. But
yeah, it was super fun. So before we go ahead and start, I do want to go ahead and give some shout outs to you as well for your PQ win in Louisville. That is your 3rd win, so huge congrats to you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to go ahead and shout out in our UK tournament. There was the UK Expo, UKG Expo or whatever going on over there. Yo Sarah won that event playing Kira, and in Josh's fashion, 62 cards, as only he seems to do. So the diffing UK and Europe still, regardless of what the deck is. And there were some jokes about converting him to the dark side and in preparation for the new Darth Vader, which we'll talk about later. So that was fun.
With OG Dooku's.
Yeah, OG Dooku.
He loves that card.
It was definitely an interesting list. And yeah, it was pretty fun to watch, and definitely definitely, if you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube and Twitch. Oh gosh, I'm terrible with the name of the group.
Organized play events.
That is who it is.
Like the host.
Yeah.
Who did he play in the finals? Like, what was the matchup?
Quinlan Tarkin.
I think it was Quinlan Mike Wood was the opponent.
Game 3 is pretty wild too, because he basically gets triple sparked in that game, and
Wow.
it's a wild game. And the Quinlan played the game in a very interesting fashion. He, even in the top 4 when he played the Akbar deck, I didn't watch anything else he played before that, but in top 4 and in the finals, he was playing Quinlan as if it was a control deck, which is the exact opposite as like every other Quinlan player I've ever known. It's like they're just dirty basers, aka Michael Conroe, dirty basing, said by Andrew above. He goes ahead on if you go to the Minnesota, on the Minnesota stream, on Loopy stream, I'm just used to my teammates being dirty basers.
That is not what I said.
Slander. I love it.
These are exact quotes.
We
were actually
fake news.
We were waiting for Andrew to go ahead and he was doing the broadcast, and we were playing Love Letter and just kind of hanging out because we were going to get, I think it was like a late lunch, early dinner at that point. And we just have the stream open and we hear what Andrew say, what he said, and we're just like, I think he just called us dirty basers as we're playing Love Letter. And so when he comes
I had to get your attention somehow, you know.
Yeah, he comes over and we just give him hell for that. It was so fun. But yeah, huge shout out to Joshua over in the UK getting that win.
Also friend of the pod.
Yes, also friend of the pod. Had a discussion about Ray Data Vault. It was 2 weeks ago. So if you are interested and want some more information about that and want to hear things about Ray Data Vault, I would check out that episode. There's a lot of interesting things, and we do kind of I don't want to say get heated, but there is a back and forth about which is better, Kira or Ray in that matchup. So there's a lot of different things we talk about there. And
that guy's cracked. I don't know how he keeps doing it.
He just diffs.
He's really good.
He just diffs EU. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he does it in his fashion, which is also, I think, really important, because right now this meta there's nothing, I talked about it this weekend with some people, but this meta doesn't feel like anything is so broken. It's just like over the top powerful. Like Django is gone. That was the over the power top. Now everything's kind of like balanced out and very grindy, or it's what's to expect, or you have an idea of like the matchups, and it comes down to comfort. And if you just switch to the flavor of the week, you're just not going to be prepared as somebody who's been playing the same deck for the last 3 weeks. And you see this with a lot of people right now are switching over to Vader 4, and that deck's good, but it's very easy to get hated out very quickly. So if you go to a tournament and people are packing heat for that, and you're like, I thought this deck was good, Ian just want to peek you with it. Well, it's because he gets disrupted incredibly easily. So it's really
I would not suggest playing this in an event in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Let's see how the meta shakes up.
Yeah, I think for the next couple of weeks, like that is going to be on everybody's radar as like, we need to figure this deck out, because it's good into Ray and it's good into Kira, and those decks are adapting. And not only are the decks adapting, but the players are adapting their play lines into that deck. Like Eager Escort Fighter, Barrage on your whole board.
Yeah. I would say I think that maybe it was good into Kira, like at Minneapolis, and then never again.
Yeah,
I think it's really easy for Kira to be main decked into that deck and not actually put that many cards towards it, and then also have more cards on the sideboard. Like one of the big ones is the Architans, which I think was actually there for the Han 2 matchup, but has like insane crossover into the Vader 4 matchup, because one of the main ways you win is flipping Vader onto a Lurking Tie, which is a 7/7, and Architans is a 7/8 ambush. So like the only way the Vader can get out of that is if they play the Krennic shuttle and put a shield on it, or if they have a Victor leader out to make it an 8/8. And like a lot has to go right for that to line up. Which means you're probably winning that game anyways, like despite the Architans.
Strong response to a home one as well.
Yeah. Home one.
And Andrew put me on this. He was like, well, because I wasn't playing Architans, because I was like, I feel like the Rey matchup, it's going to be grindy, but I didn't feel like I needed it specifically for that, because that was like one of the few places I was bringing it in for. And he's like, well, what about just bringing in also Invader 4? And my initial response was, why are we bringing in an 8-cost card for this matchup? Like, we're dead by like 6. That's what it feels like every time. And it turned out it's just the way I was approaching the matchup was very wrong. And as soon as I like just jammed games and I talked about adjusting my lines, it felt much more manageable. And I think a lot of that comes with comfort. So
yeah, I also think like just the more that deck, the Vader deck is popular, the more experience the Kira players will have into it and be able to develop lines into that deck. I think Kira is like, I think I've only really seen it with Kira and Sabine, where the player base who plays those decks have been able to like adapt certain matchups that were previously like unfavorable to becoming favored. I think one of the big ones for like Sabine is like how Sabine adapted into the Tarkin Town decks, where like everyone was like at the beginning of set 3, Tarkin Town kind of takes over the meta. People are like, Sabine's not great right now. It can't beat these Tarkin Town decks. They don't get a turn 1 play. And then they realized like as a whole, the player base kind of figured out, probably mostly on the back of like the Green Sabine thread and KTOD, so shout out to them. But like just pass against the Tarkin Town ping decks, and then you can just go into the next turn and play a 3/5 and you're fine. And like that's such a cool thing to see, where like a whole deck archetype has like a matchup that felt like 30-70, and then you swing it the other way 70-30 once you like kind of just understand the sequencing. And I think that's like something unique to this game that you don't really get to see. And I think Kira is another great example of that, because the card pool in blue-green villainy is just so vast, which is like why the Data Vault version of that deck works so well. That you can just have these like insane tech cards that work in a couple matchups, and you can just play them in the main deck for free. So yeah,
I definitely agree with that. And Andrew, we're still trying to convert him. You know, he's still on ECL. He's not coming off of it for the set 5. I can tell you that. Like, there's zero, like.
Now with Vader,
no,
like definitely.
Yeah, he was just
old dog.
He was just like, I might play Data Vault, and then they're like, here's Vader. He's like, wrong. I'm not giving up this. You're crazy. I need to perfect my lines going into set 5.
Yeah. Speaking of, get into spoilers now.
Yeah, well, before we get into spoilers, there's one last thing I want to talk about with the current meta, and there's actually 2 more things I want to talk about before we get into spoilers. Is it still fun? Do you find this current meta fun? Because I heard a lot of this weekend and at Minnesota, this is miserable. I don't want to be in this draw bracket, or my opponents are playing slow, or this is incredibly grindy and I can't kill people. How do you guys feel about the current meta? Because we still have like a month left of PQs. Well, I should say I have a month left of PQs. You all are done. I'm not. So I'm curious what do you guys think of this? Are you just checked out because you're done, or do you still think it's like relatively fun?
Who wants to go first?
You go.
Okay. So I still have 2 more PQs that I plan to go to. I'm going to Memphis in 2 weeks, and then Duluth the week after that. I'm doing the minimal amount of like testing for my own purposes, but more of my testing is to like help teammates who are unsure of matchups and just like help them get prepared who need buys. I think overall the meta is in such a like play whatever you want as long as you know the deck and know the matchups kind of space right now, that it's fun if you can make it fun. It's not fun if you like have deck identity issues, I guess, or like you don't know what to play. Like that's never fun. And because it's so wide and you can't really find a deck that has good matchups into everything or something, there's nothing busted to play. it can be frustrating to like find the perfect deck for you for a weekend if you aren't someone who just plays one deck always. So I think that can be frustrating for the player base, but it's also like a byproduct of a good thing, which is meta diversity. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Like people like having metas. Like my PQ, it was 8 different leaders in the top 8. Like that's awesome to see. Like we love seeing that kind of stuff. But it also means you can't really prep for a tournament outside of like maybe what you expect the field to be. But like you're never gonna be able to prepare for like a top 8 of an event. So yeah, I mean it can be super frustrating. I had a identity issue in terms of what I wanted to play in like the weeks leading up to Minneapolis, and we ended up kind of coming together as a team because a lot of us felt that way and settling on like a new version of Vader 4, which ended up working out for a lot of my teammates, which was great to see. But if that didn't work out and we weren't confident in that deck choice, we probably all would have just defaulted to like whatever we knew best.
Yeah. And that's not a terrible position. I mean, like I said, I think it's a comfort format, and you gain a lot of percentage points by being familiar and knowing the matchup versus somebody who's just switching to it. So, what about for you, Brandon?
Yeah, I really like that take, and I'll comment on like a couple of things here. So yeah, like I think there are those that like have the buy at this point, and are largely in that like kind of like whatever, like help the teammates, cruise control, get ready, looking at set 5 spoilers type of mode, and there's folks that are still chasing it, right? And I think the perspective between those two different types of audiences is going to be wildly different right now. Like I think like the opportunity in front of the people that are chasing that buy, or the opportunity in front of those people that haven't quite won a PQ yet. Like I think this is a pretty exciting time, right? Like definitely a lot of grind in the meta today. And I'm sure we'll talk about looking forward to set 5 and the bases in a minute, but yeah, like I struggled with that identity issue this set too, right? Like I just got to that point where I was like, okay, want to PQ with something, and I share kind of like Tada's position on this. Like if I do well with something ever, I like immediately just want to switch and try something else and learn and get better at something. So that's what I've been trying to do, and it's been hard in this meta for sure. So anyone feeling that, totally sympathize with you, but like as you've seen in the results over the past couple of weekends, literally anything can win, right? Like Akbar can win, Quinlan can win, Boba 4 can win. So like, yeah, it's all about attitude. And I think if you guys move forward into the next few weeks of PQs excited and fired up to make your thing win, this is going to be a really exciting couple of weeks of competition for you. So that's kind of my idea of perspective, and looking forward to is the last thing I'll say. So if you're in kind of the camp of I just want to get to set 5, maybe try some stuff out that you think is going to complement your set 5 play, right? If you think mid-range ground-based decks are kind of where you need to get some experience, your boy right here has been picking up quite a bit of Quinlan Tarkentown. Just trying to get better at that style of play, and also trying out Ray. So yeah, that's my take in position. So a lot of things to be excited about in the next
couple
few weeks.
Force leaders there. Very curious, with
yeah,
this Force deck coming out.
So yeah,
they might be legends of the Force. Who knows?
For sure. Give me Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Overall, I think since like the suspensions, like I had a lot of fun in Richmond and Minnesota. Pretty happy with like the meta and all my matches and everything. I think in Minnesota though, maybe it was just, it's hard to say. Like I think the overall meta is good. It's like very diverse, like Ian was talking about. I think maybe it was like I was a little biased just because my matchup spread was like I played 3 Kiramirs and then a Bosk, so it was like my day was just like very long and grindy. But that's
I'm
like
so
at those
sorry
big
you
events.
went through that.
But that's just like luck of the. I think that necessarily has to do with like the meta per se. I mean, Kira was like pretty high up there, but like the odds of those pulls are like not great. But the rest of the matches were fun, and like overall, I think the meta is still like in a decent place. I think Richmond I preferred that a little more. I can't tell why. There was like more crazy stuff out there, I think, and like there was like like a Yoda Red player that day 2'd in Richmond and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, having like the buy means like you can kind of decide on your priorities, and I pretty much agree with everything you guys said, except I am motivated we're going to West Virginia PQ, so I gotta defend the title and beat John Tata in the finals again. So that's my motivation for the next month.
On hometown tour, he's on the quest for the purple name. So
yeah,
you got to deny him that repeatedly.
So for anybody who doesn't know, we in our Discord we have different like names for sector qualifier winners or planetaries and PQ winners, and John Tata's just a
blue
content
namer.
He's just a content creator name, just a plebeian blue namer. No,
Boom.
and so it's just the joke is that he doesn't have the purple name. Maybe we'll make an honorary John Tata roll just for his name if it gets down to it. We give him a purple. So with that being said, so you guys I think it's unanimous that's pretty fun, regardless of that. So we'll talk about the second part that I had. We'll talk about that later because it kind of ties into the new set. But how are you feeling about the spoilers? There's a lot of new stuff coming in. We're seeing. I mean, there's a lot of Force stuff. There's also a lot of creatures. I don't know if you looked at like the archetype. There's a lot of creatures, and those are looking really sick. Ogdo
Space whales.
The whale, space whales, the Ogdobogdos. I mean, it was funny because
I think Andrew's going to be eaten with this set. He just got a 3/3 Sentinel in space.
Come on,
Ogdo, Vader. What is this?
It looks so good. The space Sentinel, man. When they spoiled the 3/3 today, woo-wee, dude, I was like, let's go. Blue villainy stonks on the rise again. So
why do you have to make it blue? Just like make it green or something, dude. I don't want to like also fuel child sin. Like it's gross.
Dude, mono blue. Ooh, that's a real thing.
So
it's not really.
So Ian, do you like? Yeah. So Ian, do you like? Do you think anything will go into like Han? Since you're a big Han aficionado, do you like? Are you looking at any other heroic, cunning command shells like Qui-Gon or something?
Well, before
I think there's.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you still leading the Han Cabal, or have you left because you're playing Vader 4 now?
So I do this thing where I leave Han for a little bit, but I always come back. I always come back to my number one boo, my pride and joy, my Harrison Ford. I think that Han is always going to be good just based on like his ability, and obviously like. It's cool seeing like new colors in heroism get like 3/5s for 3, which I think just inherently make Han better. Like that Ezra on turn 1 is gonna do work, right? Like that's really cool to see. And Han Blue really hasn't typically been a version of Han that you've seen before. So it'll be interesting to see if like you can make a really cool like Han Blue. Maybe like some Force stuff if they release like a blue Force throw type card. I think what I've always noticed with all these synergy based things in this game is that if your leader doesn't share the synergy and you just make a deck full of units that have it, it can be troublesome in like that mid game where like your board gets wiped and then you flip your leader and they don't share the trait that you need. I think especially if you're trying to play the Force base to get the token, it's going to be really difficult if your leader doesn't help you achieve that goal. So I am slightly worried about that for Han. Like maybe you don't play the Force base and you don't do Force token stuff and you just play like value good stuff. I could see that being a thing. But then again, I think like Kiadi Mundi is like one of the most disgusting cards I've ever seen. A 4-cost 4/4 that draws 2 whenever you want. Like I don't know. In my little bit of playing set 5 stuff, it seems really easy to get the Force token. At least like once a turn, maybe once every other turn. Like so you can pretty much line it up to just always draw 2 with Kiadi Mundi, and that's just insane. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Han, but I have a feeling like the other cunning heroism leaders might just shake out over him. I mean, you did get another 7-drop with that Qui-Gon legendary. That thing's kind of gross,
That
but
thing's insane. He's so...
yeah, I don't know. I think he obviously has potential, but I need to see the full set to be like confident on Han 1.
Totally.
Makes sense.
I still just miss DJ, man.
Nope, I do not miss him. Nope, no, not even a little bit. He can stay in prison.
I would be fine if they unbanned DJ. That's my hot take.
There's no.
It would be fine, you said?
No.
I would be fine with it, but I play Kira though, so I'm biased. You shouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, there's no shot. Every 7-drop leader is immediately in jail and unplayable.
Yeah, good luck getting your Avar Chris out.
Yeah, like 90% of like the
DJ
drops,
twice on the way to her.
Like 90% of the 6 drops are also just stuck in jail now. Like there's no world. Zero. No.
Oh, I also just because I mentioned Avar Chris, I have did you guys realize like how her ability works on the front side? Because I read it completely wrong.
It just makes
just gain the force.
Wait.
No, not like her deploy cost, like her unique.
It's on the very specific turn.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought it was just like a cumulative tracker that you had to like track as your match went on. So I was like, oh, you can totally get her out in like 5 or 6,
easy,
right?
Yeah. I thought that's how it was also, and I was talking with Michael about it, and Michael's like, it's the one turn that you do this, and I was like, oh, that's just like way worse in my mind.
Yeah, she's not coming out anytime before 7. Like that's
if that
7. You're
lucky. Like 13 or something.
Yeah, like 6 might be like the one. Like there's some like kind of nutty things you can do around 6 that. Maybe, but you have to do a lot of work to get her out on resource 6.
Yeah. I mean, if someone can break her, please, because obviously an 8-10 with overwhelm is gross. But
is she though?
Yeah,
there's
hard.
When Vader exists with ECL, no leader's safe.
Well, if you could get her out before that, that'd be pretty cool.
Like this card is that. I was playing Qui-Gon on like Karabast the other day, and I had like a sick like line set up. And my opponent has like no cards on their board, and they just go ECL Vader, kill both your things. I had Qui-Gon ship ready. I had Keller Beck in my hand. I was just attacked. I was about to play him and like pop off, and they're just like, yeah, ECL, kill both your guys. And I was like, this is not cool, man. This was
casual
not fun.
3-for-1. I don't see the problem.
This was not fun. Yeah.
So I will say on the topic of Vader. Insane with ambush. I think he's stone unplayable without it.
I don't know.
That's how I felt too. I was talking with Alex Blandon about this, and he was like, yeah, there might be situations playable that if you don't have ambush done like in the mirror, or maybe like against like a slower deck, like they play their bomb, like you just play Vader, and like it's like they have to deal with him, otherwise you can just like attack and take out their bomb. And it's like I think there might be some situations where he's okay if you don't have the ECL anymore, but I agree. I mean, it's like night and day if you don't have the ambush attached to him.
Well, I look at it like in a sense too. Is Poe unplayable without ambush? He's a lot worse.
I think it's different.
He's 5 though. He's 5. That's
his on attack trigger will always happen. The problem is your opponent can force the on attack from Vader to not do anything. Like they can purposely pop their own shield, right? Like they can attack,
or confiscate,
that's fair.
Yeah, my worry is that if you run out of ambushing options and like you're trying to get him to do something, then you just like kind of just can't play him. Because if you're ever just playing him as like a tempo 6-drop, you still have to give the shield to your opponent. Which can also be backbreaking for you. So like if you're facing down a unit that has 6 power and then you just gave it a shield, it just gets to eat the Vader.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it says give it to a friendly unit, so you can give him a shield as well.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
So you can give him a
shield,
or
like you can give it to like a sentinel or something.
Yeah, you can do those things. No,
yeah,
I don't disagree.
I don't know.
Like that's not a terrible thing or like idea, or
it definitely gets better with more effects like Lone Pike that you play, where like you have other ways to like give shields out and like kind of keep the train rolling. So like I could see a world where it's fine to play it on curve if you also have like Lone Pike doing its thing.
Yeah. Also, the vigilance, the card can shield enemy units too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and
also. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I was just gonna say, if there is like a relevant, like a competitively relevant villain cunning deck that can run this, I have had pretty decent results running this under curve with Shin Flurry, Nix the ECL, right? So that card is
Shin Flurry's crazy.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
that card is
okay.
just like really good.
I'm pulling up which this card is. There's so many cards that.
It's like a forced
like-
timely intervention
Timely,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
and then like take two
with
less damage
Boba's
just-
with Boba's armor
Yeah, I
tacked
know. I was
onto
like,
it for
what?
some reason.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's one of my hot
The only
topics
issue
right
with
there.
that with Vader is then your blue villain or cunning vigilance villain.
Right.
I don't know if there's like a shell right now for that.
We're
Yeah,
we're gonna have to see. And
Have
Gotta
we
go
seen all
like
of the
Thrawn.
Have we seen all the yellow villainy leaders for this set yet?
There's one more.
yeah,
Okay.
There are 5 leaders left. There's the villainy cunning, heroic cunning. There's probably a neutral heroic, and then there's
There's two.
vigilance villainy, and then there's heroic aggression.
There's 2 heroic.
Okay.
Heroic cunning. Qui-Gon's a starter.
Right. I meant like who has not been spoiled yet.
Okay,
There's
hold on.
5.
Actually, I have an answer to that.
Yeah.
So you're actually incorrect, and you wouldn't know that you were incorrect. But I talked at Minneapolis because I was talking about Revan with one of the game designers, and he was. I asked him like, "Oh, is there going to be like a villainy and a hero that are like that?" And like I asked, "Are they replacing like the doubled?" Or I guess tripled leader that you would have for a certain color combo because of the starter decks.
Yeah.
And he said that is what they're doing. So
Ah.
if there's a starter or a spotlight deck that has a certain color combo, that won't
There's always
appear the
3.
third time now. So it'll be 2 still, and then just the hero
Right.
villain replaces the third one.
Yeah. So this is the first set where they're breaking that paradigm, right? Instead of 3, it's
Yeah.
2, which is replaced by those slots. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean that. Okay, so there is just one hero cunning, and I mean, the things that I've heard about what Anakin's going to be as the supposed light side only leader. This is what I heard in North Carolina this weekend. I heard that he's going to be a 5/8 that deploys on 5,
What?
light side only, that is going to go ahead and ignore villainy aspect cost. That is what I've heard, and I'm like, this card is absurd. If this is real, there's.
I mean, I guess that's like why they made that Anakin unit, right? Which I think is just good in general, but
Right.
like
yeah,
obvious pairing if you can play hero and villain cards with no downside in your deck.
This card just if it was a 5/8 for 5 with no text, right there, it's just like also force like. Let's assume it's the Jedi trait, also force Jedi, like attached to it. And this is the time period seems to be Republic for the Jedi. Like that's a crazy number of key like synergies you can add to this card. Not even,
I mean, just
including what he's
just a 5/8 on 5 is nuts. What the
That's
heck?
what I mean. Just like just blank text with those keywords is crazy.
That's like you're playing double POW City plus Pentraki Arena as your base.
Yeah.
It is
with Boba.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Boba.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, we can go ahead and also ignore villainy. Like just think about like the green and blue like cards you get to ignore. We get Power of the Dark Side now as a light side. You get Super Laser Tech on the green side and Barrage. And by the way, if he is a 5/8 on 5, we get to Barrage for 7. I don't know if a lot of people were around for the Barrage of Boba Fett for 6.
Yeah,
it felt really good. It still feels good with Kira.
That seems just not okay.
Right?
It's insane.
And even even if the idea is like, oh, you have to use the Force to do these things, that's not really that much of a downside. Like,
I guess like if you can play. Can you play the Force units too, or like villainy units too?
What I was told is that
because then you get like so many Force 2-drops, right? Like that's insane.
From what I was told, it was villainy ignored. Like it ignores villainy. That is what I was told.
That's so insane.
I heard it was a non-unit.
Right. No,
And
that seems more reasonable.
In like the official dev like spoiler thingies, one of the things said that one of the leaders is going to care about non-unit cards in your deck. And there's only five left, and we don't have that. So that was like I thought that would line up with that maybe, but we have to see.
Yeah,
because then it'll be interesting of like what color do you pair for him to like get the most amount of like force units that can like keep the base online if you have to like use the force token to be able to use his ability.
Yeah.
So it could be like a fun deck building challenge, but like at the end of the day, you have a 5/8 on 5, so nothing matters.
Well, if you're playing green, like if you're just playing green, you can go like turn 1 Gungi. If he does ignore villainy period, you're like turn 1 Gungi, turn 2 super laser tech, flip into barrage.
That's gross. Or even just like turn 1 Gungi attack on turn 2 and then like power the dark side, right? Like there's just so many gross things that you can do. Does it only ignore? Do you think it only ignores the villainy aspect penalty, or does it ignore if it's a villain card, ignore all of its aspects?
I've heard that it was the villainy aspect penalty specifically.
Okay, so that means that if you were green base, you would be able to play green villainy, but you wouldn't be able to play blue villainy.
Right.
Because you would still get the disc. You would still have the blue out of aspect part.
Right, but if you play blue, you just play Yaddle into power the dark side.
right. But then you'll get the ramp. You don't get the barrage on your 5/8.
No, but I get.
This is a true tragedy of the commons.
I do get all of my removal in blue, like fells,
that is
takedowns, power the dark side,
no glory,
glory, and then we're like, okay, we.
I mean, this could be like a true heroism control deck, which you like really haven't had ever.
There you go.
Yeah, you still get Vader if you want to play it, just as a 6-drop. Then you go into your 7s and 8s, and you're like, okay, I can still play like whatever 7-drop, but you get Avenger in this deck, but green is pretty gross because you get Vader.
Yeah, I feel like this just blows Chancellor Palpatine from set 3 out of the water.
Yeah, and that's something else that's like really interesting is like how good is that deck going to be? How like the problem we always had when like trying to play that deck, because Ryan, Michael, and I love that deck, is the tempo loss for not having a leader is
that's
actually
really bad.
Super important. And you felt really far behind, but now we got a 3/3 wolf that has Sentinel. You have to bust through this to turn it on. We have Yaddle now. You have like if you play green, you have Gungi and you have Jedi or not Jedi lightsaber, the General's Blade that you can play. And it is there's all the different takes. You can play green yellow. You get Keller and Beck if you get into the late game. You also get Cad Bane.
That card's sweet.
I love Keller. I love that.
He looks good.
Andrew
just
was
home one but different.
Well, you
ground home one.
In Qui-Gon, you're like, dude, with Qui-Gon's ship, you get to bounce the home one, and then when you play the Keller and Beck for free, if you attacked with Qui-Gon's ship, you get his effect twice.
This is a crime against humanity.
You also, by the way, just in case you're curious, home one's also when played. So it also
that is true.
It also benefits from.
Oh, because he picks up anything. It doesn't. It can be a ship, right?
It is
when he picks something up. Yeah, that's sick.
Mm-hmm. So you can just bounce all.
Yeah, I think most people have been like at least like theory crafting with Qui-Gon with red because of force throw. So it's just like the default. Like, oh, I have a force leader. I can play force things. I'm gonna play force throw.
Oh,
but green does sound appealing. But you know me, I love some green yellow cunning. Heroism.
Yeah. So Brian on our team, we both drove down to North Carolina and we were talking. Something that we talked about was the current JTL home one in yellow. So you play Qui-Gon red, and you get to resource 4. If they have a space unit, you can hate that ship, give them 2 ties, play home 1, ambush it, and if you have the force, you can then bounce your home 1 and play an 8-drop.
Yeah, that's gross.
Pretty good.
It was like crazy what some of the things that you can do with it. So I like Qui-Gon a lot, and he's a 4/7 on 6. So
yeah, he reminds me of like birthing pod decks from Magic.
Yeah,
right.
Which was one of my favorite type of decks in Magic. So
I
think having the ability on a leader is pretty sweet too, because like it's not like having it on a card that they can just like remove. And even if they like defeat the leader, like you'll still have it. You'll have access to the ability for the whole game, which is pretty nice.
And you get the double chain on the flip turn, which is really cool.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, it's really good.
And so, what other leaders are? I think they're supposed to be a Ray and a Kylo, or no? Yeah, Ray and Kylo, right?
That's what the
I have no
rumor
idea.
is. Yeah, yeah. I'm just hoping that the vigilance villainy leader that remains is good. That's my hope.
Do you not like
Do you
Mother
need another-
Talzin?
Do you need another?
I like Mother Talzin. I definitely will mess around with her. I think it'll be really cool to run Force Lightning with her, and like she can change breakpoints. I think on like a lot of the trades and removal and stuff like that.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
think
the front side is like relatively weak, but it's nice when you pair it with the other minus X effects.
Right.
yeah,
Like the other Night Sister synergies is really cool. And then the on attack getting the -1 seems really cool because you can it's basically like she gets +1/+1, right?
yeah. She can
But
if you're against Kira, you can like flip Talzin. They flip Kira. You attack Kira, kill her with Talzin, and Talzin lives with 1 health, which is like really good. And I think just change. It's like the ability looks weak in a vacuum, but I think it's like thinking about all these breakpoints it changes, right? Like changing breakpoints for 0 resources. I mean, you still have to spend the force, but like I imagine you'd probably run like the red attack base, or the 28 health base, where you can like potentially use the force multiple times in a round,
yeah,
and like be able to like force choke for 6, or like the sorceress blast for 4. Like changing these breakpoints, I think could change like race math in like other aggro decks. So I'll definitely play with her. I just tend to gravitate more towards like mid range. So we'll see.
Well, one of the big things also is like that -1. Think of how many like 2/3s are just in the meta that get played, and or are not played because things are 3/3s, and you're like can't play my 2/3 because that's a 3/3, and
Yeah,
it's
well,
just
everyone's
makes
playing
it
like
relevant.
2/4s. If
Yeah.
you shrink a 2/4, then it's like Mon Mothma stats, which is like not very scary by
Exactly.
itself.
yeah,
Well, not only that, but then 3/5s, right? 3/5s become a lot more manageable as 3/4s, right? So these 4/5s
Right.
can now run into these 3/4s. So like it's a really interesting change that can happen.
Doesn't if you Talzine off of no disintegrations, doesn't that take care of pretty much any non-leader unit?
ooh,
It does.
that's
that's a good one.
sick.
That's good.
And
I like the old DACA unit she has too. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
she's
just a
not Poe.
5
but
6/6, right? Like just
Yeah.
without any other
think-
text happening.
I think that card's
Yeah,
insane.
like,
I think
pretty
And
old
it has the
DACA-
force trait, like
I think that card's
Yeah.
crazy because if you can pair that with like if the night payoffs are like relevant when playeds that come in, if there's like more of them, then I think that card's going to be crazy. Like there's already the -3/-3 one.
yeah, that
or
one's
the
nuts.
draw
I
card
think that
one.
card's like just good in a vacuum. Like
Oh
it
yeah, I
doesn't.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, that card. I mean, that's Anakin gives -3/-3, and that card's crazy. And this one's just
Yeah.
a 4/4 for 4.
For sure.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think
pair
she's
that-
definitely interesting.
Yeah,
I'm interested in Third Sister though. Actually, that's the one aggro leader that I think I would like to try. The one I want to see how good the new Savage Oppress is, because you can like play him with hidden, and then just claim and then surprise strike for 12.
That's
And,
gross.
like he's got 6 health, so like you probably wouldn't want to run him out against like Cunning. They can maybe like waylay him, right? But against the other colors, like you can set it up so you play him, attack again, get the force. So you're not taking the 9. I think even if they like want to remove him. Also, he's like immune to no glory, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, they'll take
Yeah, you
take 9.
cannot no glory that. That's so funny.
Yeah,
That was like one of my favorite things. I was playing AT haulers in Minneapolis, and my opponent had a no glory that I saw off of Bayzine, and I was just like, "You can keep that one."
Yeah.
yeah. This
funny.
weekend it happened in my top 8 in Richmond, but it happened again this weekend. People playing Radis against Kira. Just please.
Oh my!
It happened so many times. It's just like the no glory just do that, and like I said, he like played the no glory, and he played the Radis, and I had another one in hand after I killed this one. He like salvaged it back or something, and I was like, okay. I like played Evader, took the damage from it, and then he like played a Falcon from his row, and I just untapped and played No Glory on the Radis and killed both of his things. Like I would. That's like one of the like that in K2. I just could never play those cards against Kara. They're just nope.
Are we talking set 5 units yet? There's one I'm kind of interested in. I'm curious on your guys' thoughts.
What do you got?
go
Hit
for
us with it.
Go for it.
Okay, so I've been doing a
Is it
lot
Gungi
of
with
Obi
the-
testing, right? Okay, well we know Gungi with General Blade is set to fighting. Okay, but a card that has kind of really like A, I've been blitzed by it, and B, been really surprised by it is Jedi Consular, the 2-drop, so open, like just as an opening card, like a turn 1 play.
Pretty scary.
Especially in Obi-Wan, where you basically like always have the Force when you need it. It's 2 above curve whenever you want, right? Like it's not now there are 2 of them, kind of like random circumstance, 1 unit on the board whenever you want, right? It's a free Gungi whenever you want. It's Keller and Beck on 5 for another 3-drop, right? And I've just like, and it's with Obi, you can make it very quickly a 2/5 too, right? So like I've been very surprised by the performance of a common, and just curious if you guys think it's actually good, or if maybe it's just like a flop and too early in testing to tell.
I think that if there was any card that would make me want to play Avar Chris, it's exactly that card. Because you can always guarantee that you have the Force on turn 1 so that you can start turn 2 first action, use him. But outside of that, I am just worried that it'll be too like you have to attack with it to get the Force if you don't have another way to get it, and then you're doing the effect a little bit late, and then they're probably just going to do everything in their power to just kill it, right?
With Virgin's Temple, if you did it green blue, you'll get it for free.
Oh yeah, the blue rare base, right?
But that is a fair point. I feel like green yellow is maybe, I don't know if you guys think differently, but green yellow feels a little better to me right now than green blue. So
I mean maybe with Obi just making it bigger, it's fine. Just to like make it last longer, and you don't really care about it to like get a 5-drop early, but you care about getting a 7-drop early. I could see that being relevant.
Sure.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these 4 health round 1 units, it's going to be scary. Your opponent has initiative, you play it. They play a unit, you play your Maz Kanata, and like kill your guy for 4. Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
I was just saying, like, I think playing a 4 health unit on round 1 is going to be scary. Like, if people are on like Force package with Maz Kanata, and like they just like run their 2/4 into your 2/4, kill it. So it's like. I guess like Gungi is going to be like a premium because he's got 5 health, but yeah, that'll be really interesting to see how much like she shows up.
Yeah, I think that I think the card itself, the Jedi Consular, I like that card a lot. The same thing like you said was like with Avar Chris, like it's just like crazy in there. Like your first turn action, like you said, you're just like, yep, play whatever I want. But in Obi-Wan, it's also just like it seems like crazy, especially if you're trying to be aggressive, because you have to kill that thing. You cannot let that sit around. That's just like more dangerous than the 1/2 I'm blanking right now. The hero that Rey used to play and like Luke plays that like makes everything cost 1 less.
Alliance
the Dispatcher?
Dispatcher. Yeah. It's just like as dangerous as that card, if not more dangerous, especially in depending on like what's going on.
And it has more like higher chance to live because it has better stats too, right?
Yeah. And in those green decks, they're also playing Obi-Wan generally. So you're just like, play it next turn, first action, play Obi-Wan. Now you have to kill my 3/5, and you don't get to kill this directly. And if you don't kill it, I'm next turn going to be playing a 6-drop.
Yeah.
And if you're playing blue green, that 6-drop can very realistically be a Anakin. Just come in and kill something.
So I had an idea if there's like all these new lightsabers, everyone's going like, unit saber. Is Evidence of the Crime finally gonna have its 15 minutes as a sideboard card to steal these sabers?
Roger.
There's some PTSD moments that are happening in our Discord about that card. Just
big time. Oh man,
that'll be funny.
Dude,
yeah.
Are we gonna get more Ewoks? Like that's We have one.
I
We have
hope
our
so.
first one.
So, for the sake of my teammate Chris Lewis, I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think a lot of people here know this, but Chris Lewis has played a bunch of different Star Wars games in his life. One of them being Legion, which is one of the miniature games that FFG makes. And the best that he ever did in like a tournament for Legion was playing an entire Ewok army, and at the time it was kind of like a meme.
Nice.
And he showed up with like an Ewok hat that was like it had like ears and everything, and it has like this coattail to like have fur and stuff. It's the cutest little hat thing, and he wore it and played this miniature event with a bunch of Ewoks. So I just kept telling him, once Ewoks get in this game, I'm forcing you to play the Ewok deck.
Pretty cool.
With,
Cool.
Ryan also wants an Ewok deck. He also wants C-3PO to be the leader that interacts.
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
that would be so like just
God
on
Emperor
point.
C-3PO.
Oh yeah, it'd be so good.
Yep.
So and the Ewok card isn't even that bad. It's a 1/3 with Restore 1, and it's hidden. It's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, not looking good for a space whale leader this set. I was really hoping for space whales.
That would be crazy.
yeah,
So-
Space Whales look sick.
Mhm.
The art looks
For all
great.
the yeah, they do. I wonder if they'll be good like in Ahsoka because you like give them
That's-
Sentinel,
yeah.
like the bigger
That's
ones, I
true.
guess. I don't know.
Ahsoka the Space Whale Master. Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How do you guys
Ahsoka-
feel about Ahsoka? Because I feel like everybody's been trashing on her, but I feel like this is also just what happens when people see like, oh, it's just a leader that cares about Sentinel. But then like
Yeah.
randomly you play against it, and it does this crazy play where like they put Sentinel on something that is just like the worst thing that could happen to you, and you get blown out, and it's just like, all right, maybe this is okay.
They have released a lot of pretty good blue cards, in Brandon's opinion, up until this point, right? Like, and if you look at like basic stuff like Jedi Guardian, right, Plo Koon, there are consequences for these units having Sentinel that we haven't really seen. Like, I don't think like if you put Sentinel on like a 1/1 battle droid, it's like the same consequences like putting it on a 6/8 or like a 6/8 with grit. So there's definitely a chance. I'm waiting to see, and like Andrew said, right? Slap that bad boy on a graceful Purgle. R.I.P. to the space aggro decks out there.
all the Sabine players don't want her to ever be played ever.
Well, so
I'll try it out.
One of my teammates, Phil Ritchie, he's like a blue-green heroism fan to the core, like the only thing he ever plays. And he was like having a lot of fun with Lando this set. And like one of the he also just loves General Reekin. And so like leaders that have Sentinel, he loves because he gets to play Reekin and make them bigger. So I want to see like Ahsoka in a Reekin like green blue heroism deck and just kind of like go crazy with it.
That'd be cool.
And you just get to give the XP to whatever you target with their ability, right? Like it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I think it's kind of interesting, her ability to give something Sentinel, because there is like ETH Koth exists in this now. And if you go like ETH Koth and your opponent has to attack, they have to make the choice like, am I going to give you like a ramp, or am I just going to kind of sit here? That's like
turn on my Ogdo Bogdo. Let's go.
Yeah, Ogdo Bogdo. Yeah. Does her ability require you to use the Force to give Sentinel?
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Okay, so then with ETH Koth, you have to like attack in between, or else because ETH Koth also requires the Force.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you can you can get the Force back with him, or something else. And like,
it's still like super cool.
Say there's like a board where like I'll just use like current deck like Rey, right? A lot of their attacks are like 2 attacks into something, so you can like weave something in between to give it Sentinel and then do this. And then they're like, well, now I can't attack you, and you're like, all right, well now I have a 5/4 that's just gonna kill whatever your best unit is next turn. So
I think also just like the threat of activation will go a long way. Like I think people are sleeping on her, right? Because like if you have the Force token and you have like a couple units out and they haven't like attacked yet or whatever, like your opponent has to very cautiously do things because they don't know which unit you're going to give Sentinel to and when, and like there's some cool play patterns there. I don't know.
For sure. Yeah.
And her stats aren't that terrible.
Yeah, they're fine, I think. Because she also can Sentinel something twice, or like one in each arena or something. For the force synergies, we've been talking about that, and like now with Data Vault kind of everywhere, like everyone's kind of thinking like, are people going to get off Data Vault for like the force package payoffs? Because you kind of need a base. You can't just like roll in and be like, I'm just going to play like enabling cards. If you don't draw the enabler, like, what do you guys think?
I think he said he had to do something with his headset.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting too, because like I guess this would only apply to decks that want a green base in the first place.
Or like Colossus, maybe, I don't know. Like just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Either one of those. Yeah.
I think it'll depend on how many cards that they print that use the force token. Sure. And obviously if your leader uses the force token, then it's like kind of a given you have to use one of those bases, like whether it's the rare or the common base, or else your leader doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So outside of those leaders, like old leaders from other like previous sets, like I could see you still running Data Vault or ECL or something like that. I think it would just really depend. Like I don't think Sabine would rather play a 28 HP green force base instead of ECL. But
for sure.
I don't know, maybe like Han2 blue, which we've like seen in this meta right now, like rise up at like the later stages here. Kind of have a resurgence. Like maybe that deck can be like a force deck, but maybe it still just wants to have the more health because of whatever reasons or whatever, like I don't know.
Giving I think another health, good like doesn't seem crazy either, right? I mean,
yeah. I think it would be the real question is like, would Quinlan Tarkentown want to use the 28 HP base, or would it want to use Tarkentown? And like maybe the same thing with Ray Tarkentown. Like, does Ray want Tarkentown still, or does that move to 28 HP? I think those are really interesting questions to think about.
Yeah, or if you like want a force package, like how do you decide between the rare base at 25 versus the 28? Like, do you want to use the force multiple times per round, or like, do you want the reliability or but less health? Like that seems like an interesting kind of decision point too.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't played enough to like know any of these answers, but they're definitely good questions to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be this way, but I feel like the Data Vault surge, has like, I think aggro and its effectiveness drove a lot of people towards Data Vault. So like, I think a lot of players felt more comfortable going into a stronger aggro meta with Data Vault. So I guess like we'll have to see, can the 28 HP bases hang with aggro well enough, right? And B, if you are on a 25 HP base or 28 HP base going into 33, like, is it better to run, Ray Green 28, Ray Green 33, right? And I don't know if they mentioned this yet. Like per booster, are they like giving force bases?
So that's the common slot.
So obviously for draft, like there's your black and white choice, right? And they've leaned into a draft build, but for Premier, I think we just got to test like with our really good aggro guys, I think, out the gate to see this. And then all the testing I've done has just been against people like all in on set 5, so I have not really tested against much of the current meta yet. So
yeah, it'll be interesting because I think also with like their new stat distributions for 1-drops, it also kind of makes you want to be less aggressive because like the units are sticking around, so you can get blown out by just going base.
Yeah.
Like a 2/4 being able to kill 2 units pretty consistently is like pretty good to do against aggro. Like just Yaddle itself having like restore 1 and being a 2/4. Things like that like make it really interesting.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't know.
On the I think opposite side of the spectrum here, how do you guys feel about hard control? Coming into like, a heavy force-based type meta, do you think like, the standard like heavy force package is vulnerable to hard control, or like as compared to the rest of the meta, or what do you guys think on that?
I mean, if they don't pre-ban force throw, which I don't think they're going to do, but I know people like talking about. I think generally force throw has been good against like big control decks. Andrew can obviously talk more about that. As like someone who plays a lot of control-y decks, or even like high, like the control-y mid-range decks in Blue Villainy specifically. I'm curious to see if they. I don't think they're going to print any other discard cards that are like that in the set. Like that would be kind of crazy if there's multiple of that.
Yeah.
But I could see if like everybody just plays a force throw deck. Like I don't think the control decks like that. Like maybe it's not like a auto win or anything, but like I would imagine that that's annoying for them to deal with.
Big time.
Yeah, I mean, like hard controls, like to me, that's just like boss. Like you're not really playing like units. I think those decks gonna be harder to play because it seems like they're really pushing everything to be like unit based. I mean, like even like generating the force, right? The only way to do that without a unit is the green base, right? Where you can just like do it to like get the force. So it's like you could play like a event based hero control deck or something. I have no idea. But it seems like you're going to need to be like very invested in like units to get the force to get the payoffs. So I think it's going to be a lot harder to, build like an all event kind of like deck. Even like, what was it, Shatterpoint, the 4-cost event? Like, that's like really good. It'll probably replace like Takedown or Fell in a lot of decks, especially like heroic decks. But, it's like you can't just play that. You got to have like a bunch of units, I think, which I think is probably good for like the meta. Like it'll force more like trading, and it'll be a little more interesting than just like going base or just removing everything.
Yeah, I think Shatterpoint has like a secret heroism aspect to it that no one actually has realized yet. Like,
yeah,
I don't think you really need to play it in villain, but like it's really
Sure.
good for hero decks now.
Yeah, like immediately replaces Fell the Dragon, I would imagine, and like Han and all these decks. Pretty happy to get it.
Yeah, I actually think that there's a world that it can exist, for the purpose of like, if the meta is playing the 28 bases and they're not playing the 25s where you have to attack with your units, and like let's just use current boss, right? Your turn one play doesn't like attack that often because like they power the dark side, or they have like removal spells. They're just like trying to 1-for-1 you every time. I think there's a world that those decks can disrupt your plans for trying to turn on your force payoffs as the force deck. And really they don't need to change a whole lot. I mean, there are going to be some things that they change in their decks just because they're better, but I'm just thinking about the current way that they play. The payoffs for the force decks are going to be a lot harder. Like if you're playing like red for like Kiadi Mundi, right? If you never get to attack because they kill everything every time, then your curve of like 1-drop, 2-drop Kiadi Mundi to draw 2 cards never actually happens. And so you just play a 4/4, and that card's like, we have 4/4s for 4 that exist in the game. They're not played for very specific reasons. So like those payoffs, like how good is your deck when you can't actually do what your deck's trying to do? So I actually think that there's a world that these force decks can actually get disrupted. The problem comes in that the control decks still like, all right, I'm gonna play my 4/4 for 4, and we're gonna 1/1. We're gonna 1/1 me, and we're just gonna like go to the super late game, or eventually I play two cards, and you're playing 2 cards, but you're playing very specific removal, and you just have this grindy same reaction that you always have in those matchups. But I do think it can disrupt your plans, and you're gonna have to like learn to play around all that annoyance. So
yeah, that's a good point.
So we've talked about basically all the good stuff. How about some of the stinkers, aka Kit Fisto, Grand Inquisitor, the big stinkers? I'll even throw Morgan Elspeth in this one. I don't think she's particularly good. I think she's a pretty big stinker. But before we get to that one, I think Kit Fisto and Grand Inquisitor are the biggest stinkers.
I mean,
I think
Grand Inquisitor for sure.
GI is the worst for me as well. Yeah, that's just
That guy's just Jin Urso in sheep's clothing.
yeah.
Yeah, check.
And I like attacking units, but it just doesn't seem that exciting. I don't know. Doesn't seem great.
I don't know why you have to like use the force to activate it too. It's like pretty egregious. Even you
I
get it
think-
right back if you have a force unit, but like it's still
Yeah.
like I don't know.
His stats are embarrassing. I think the most annoying thing about his design for me is like it's like okay, so there's all these 2/4s, so you like deploy him and then you attack a 2/4 and like you don't even use the shield because like you're not taking any damage. It's like why do I have a shield? Why don't I just have more stats? Like there's just so many little things about his design that like I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Mind blowing to me.
I think Kit Fisto at least like he's got Saboteur. If you just like play out a bunch of like little guys, like you know, he can at least like be swinging to base and like doing damage. Like
I don't think you're playing him for the leader side. I think you're playing him because you want to get the front side ability to do work for you.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being like this mid-rangey deck that has like really good board control. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, is that so? We talked about earlier, like Chancellor Palpatine is a similar thing, right? Like you're never deploying your leader. You're not playing it for like it doesn't deploy. If this card is that is arguably like worse in a sense.
Well, at least you do
Chancellor
get
controls
stats.
the board though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, but the what we talked about earlier is that how important is the flip, right? Is the tempo you lose from it? That's what's it's going to fall in that same category.
For sure. But it's not quite because you do still have something. It's just not great, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you still get to do something. You probably get to kill off a unit if you want, or like I don't know if you have like one or two guys out. It's like 3 power. Maybe it's like a Han 2 type leader where it's like you don't really care about Han 2's flip outside of sometimes you like get 2 discounts in one turn, and you're really just tempoing it out to like probably finish out a unit. But like at the end of the day, you're really just the front side of ability for Han 2 is really, really good. And so it's worthwhile to play that leader. And the question that the community has to solve is like, or answer is like, how good is that ability? How frequently can you get it? Does it change the math? Like, are there certain removal spells in red now, like with Sorceress Blast, that can kind of like pair well with it to like kill a 5 health unit in 2 actions and kind of like snowball out of control so that like because you have the deploy that sucks, it's lessened because you've been so good at controlling the board. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's just like again, it also it falls into this. You're playing behind the curve because it also costs 1 to use. So
For sure.
You're limiting a lot of things. Now, not to say.
But if all your 2-drops are 2/4s, are you really behind curve?
That's fair. Like there are decks like Ray is a deck that plays behind the curve, and we see how good that is, right? Like Akbar is also a deck that plays behind the curve. But there are also glaring weaknesses in those decks. When you play a deck like Han 2 that plays ahead of the curve, there's a 2 curve delta between these 2 cards that you're playing, and it's like that's kind of massive in some situations. Like it can be really, really brutal for the Ray deck to fight. So it is interesting. It will see. I mean, I think Hantu's also just gaining a lot of traction, which I guess this kind of segues into my next question of, you know, we've talked about the new leaders. What do we think the big winners of the current leaders are? I know you touched on Han 1 a little earlier, and I just touched on Han 2 a little bit. Is there anything else that really sticks out that you think? I mean, just like I know you said you haven't gone like too in depth into the set just yet, but it's like, okay, we look at these cards. This old leader seems like it's insane.
Is it finally time for GI's time to shine? Like, who knows? There's some Inquisitor synergy, right? We got stuff that makes Inquisitors better. We got stuff doubling raid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's
OG.
Oh.
Jeez. Thinking about doubling raid, like if you just it's like a 3/6 with grit or it's a 3/6 with raid 3 that you just like play. I think it's for 5. You just like untap it. Now we're rating for 6. You're just like take 9.
9.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That seems kind of gross.
Hey, you got like
feel-
Ataru Onslaught. It's another like untap effect, but it's
Oh, yeah.
4 power untap. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
A little
That
spicy.
card does look pretty good. Yeah. I
I'm
feel
a
like
fan of
any of these leaders like that have force, not like a specific leader, but any force traded leader
Mhm.
is gonna be better, right? Just like implicitly. So like maybe Ray could be even better next set eventually.
Chariot with all these lightsabers.
Yeah.
Another Woo classic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
we do not
Ophir
need
would like us
we
to
do
talk
not
shit.
need
Yeah.
Chariot to come back. That we don't need that to come back.
Dude, I love Chariot. He did nothing wrong.
Yep, I'm keeping my eye on Anakin and keeping my eye on Quinlan. Specifically, I'm again looking at like Quinlan Red Force package, but honestly more so Quinlan Green is seeming kind of interesting to me with what's been revealed up until this point. And yeah, Anakin, I think just playing around the rainbow there, mostly leaning, on I think Anakin Blue certainly is going to get better.
You did get another dogfight though.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, check. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that bad boy. Nothing else jumping out to me. I was like praying Tarkin somehow magically just gets better, but I don't think so.
I mean, there's some Imperial stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
Some
So,
First Order stuff too. Maybe one of the First Order leaders like finally
Yeah.
can maybe, I don't know, poke it with a stick, see if it does something.
Indeed. Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on Braun. That's a leader that I always have. to
One
keep an eye
or
on.
4.
4. Thrawn
Okay.
4.
That
I have.
that-
I wasn't sure
No.
if you were like Thrawn 1 with that card that lets me play off the top of my deck if I know what it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Tron Yellow with
You're my
Legacy
only-
Run.
You're My Only Hope already exists in
Mm-hmm.
Yoda, and these leaders are
Yeah.
not the same.
It's true.
True.
So, but no.
Hey man, I was gonna let you cook, all right?
No,
I wasn't saying it was a bad
Dude,
idea.
I cooked yesterday, and I set my apartment on fire with Akbar Red. The oven's the oven's down right now. We need to cook.
Oh, I got good copy. Roger that.
Yeah, the oven's down. I went out to lunch with Michael. Came home, oven's down. Can't cook with Akbar Red anymore. But
Roger.
with Thrawn, the reason I say this is because the more cards that become in the pool, the more you have to look at that, because doubling when defeated abilities or doubling any effect that's already good is always potentially breaking. So something like Thrawn is just like every time I'm like, all right,
Like
let's see the whole set, but this is something that I'm like, okay, what are our options here? Cobb Vanth still exists. We can play 2 cards for free off that.
Thrawn Night Sisters.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
all the old DACA and stuff.
Yeah, old DACA, you get the double triggers plus putting it back when played. If there's
That would
any
be another
cards-
interesting, like, do you play the Force base or not kind of question, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're playing
Yeah.
those Night Sister cards, you kind of have to,
yeah,
since your
sure.
leader doesn't like make it happen.
or are you still playing ECL because we have Vader now, right? Like that's just like a really powerful card in that deck. So there's there's situations where you can just go like Vader, kill 2 things, they kill your Vader, you just play Palp's Return, bring it back, and you're like, okay, well, we're gonna do this song and dance next turn.
Palp's Return does just get way better with all these Force units, right? Like,
Yeah.
just more ways to get like the super discount.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, dude. The other leader that I'm always on the watch for, French baby, French.
You do love
Get
French.
out of here, dude.
I love
totally.
me some Trench data.
That's too far even for Ian.
No,
Big
it's
generous
because
of you.
All right.
my teammate Crispy got 11th at the Florida PQ last week with it, and
Oh wow!
I'm like,
Don't tell
I'm
the
just-
Creasy this.
Hell
don't give him
yeah.
any more ideas,
Hell
please.
yeah! All right, so here's the cook, right? Palp's Return's gonna be good. They're gonna discard our Vaders. We're gonna be able to Palp's Return our Vaders out of aspect
Oh my god.
because it's 8. It costs 2 less. And we get to play it with Palp's Return.
You just play like Admiral Piet from set 1 to give it ambush.
Exactly, exactly. So you're just like play my Piet, and they're like, oh, we're good, and you're just like Palp's Return this bad boy right back, bang.
those.
Killed
Gross.
both your things. Oh yeah.
That was at the PQ yesterday. My teammate Crawl was playing Akira Mirror, and his opponent. It was basically like, what's the big blue ship that on play and on defeat like
Annihilator.
takes. Yeah, Annihilator.
Yeah.
So it was like Annihilator into Annihilator, and his opponent looks at Craw's hand, and he just has 3 Palps returns in it, and he just
Oh,
concedes.
goodness.
His opponent just goes, I've seen enough.
Dude, I played against Thrawn Data Vault at the North Carolina PQ, and it was a really grindy match. We got to the end, and I killed him through mill, and
Right.
we finished the game. My opponent's like, I don't want to do this again, and he just conceded to me. He's like, I don't want to play another game of this.
I don't blame him.
Conceded. We had like 30 minutes left, but he's like, I don't care how much time it is. I don't want to do this again. I was like,
Yeah, that's fair.
awesome.
I'll take the win, I guess. So, but that matchup is pretty fun. Another card that I really like, Darth Malik. That's a 4/7 for 5.
What's Sith? Is it Sith leader that you need, or is it
Unit.
just unit Sith?
Fifth leader
Sith
unit
leader
has to be
unit.
deployed.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of those do we have outside of Darth Revan?
Maul.
Ventress.
Ventress,
Um,
Maul,
Vader.
Revan.
Vader.
That's it, I think.
Vader 1, baby.
Maybe.
Set
Vader.
1 Vader.
Set
Okay.
1, Vader. Dude, you're laughing now. You're laughing. Just wait.
I mean, he's
Hey,
a
George the
7,
Hulk is
Malik's
in
a
chat
5.
right now. Okay.
Yeah, he's
Vader
definitely
1 has been wanting a 5-drop forever, and you can finally get a respectable 5-drop, even if you don't untap it.
There you go.
But in your late game, like on your late turns, you can just play it. Gotta respect it.
Oh wait, is both Ventresses, even the pilot Ventress, is that a Sith too?
I'm pulling it up.
tell you in
Revan
just a
is
second.
not, because she's knight, I think, because that's like
Okay.
her bounty hunting era.
She is
Right, right.
Force Knight Bounty Hunter pilot.
Yeah.
What about Dooku?
I don't
He's
think
separatist.
he's
I don't think so.
separatist.
Force.
Dooku
Let's
is
Official.
Yeah.
Force separate.
He
No,
is
he's
Sith.
Sith. You're right.
Force
Force
separatist.
separatist. Sith.
Oh yeah, he's got it. Yeah, Dooku's got it.
There you go.
But
That's
set,
another 7 deploy though.
set 3
It's
set
not
3
happening.
Maul is not a Sith.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
So you
Right,
Only
it's
this
the
one.
Underworld one, right?
but the new one is.
Yeah.
So you can't play it that
Yeah.
way. Who else? Oh, the yellow Ventress is though.
Right.
She is
The
Sith.
fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could play her with ECL, and then you can ECL Malik on 5.
Hey,
There you go. Any readies?
Mhm.
That'd be sick. What else?
Too bad she's dead.
Palpatine.
Like she'll die every time, unfortunately.
Palpatine Sith. You can play it with him.
On 8.
Um,
Oh baby.
There's a lot. I mean, that's a big board. You steal their unit that you set up. You steal their unit, and then you also play your ready Darth Malik. 3 ready units on the same turn. That's a big board.
It's
like-
a big board.
Like if I steal your Vader, that's untapped, and I play Darth Malik, and I have probably like a 5/3 or a 5/4 invader. You have a 4/7 and a 4/10.
Mhm.
All right, actually, I have the
Giant.
perfect palp deck for you. All right,
All right,
are you ready? I don't think you're ready for this.
Embrace for
Deck
impact.
name is called Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Okay,
Okay,
hit me.
Okay.
and so you're playing a 4 space. It's yellow. Playing 3 copies of Change of Heart, 3 copies of Commandeer, 3 copies of that new 5-drop Steal Your Thing, but you have to use the Force to do it.
Oh yeah. Change your heart for 5. Yeah.
That's all, and then 3 choose sides. All right,
There you go.
and you're just playing all the steal effects.
Just steal everything and traitorous.
Yeah, 3 traitorous, 3 of the Pantoran patrol thief
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever his name is.
Are we talking? Are we also gonna play the bounty one that lets us take it?
Yeah, 3 unrefusable offer.
To our deck.
I mean,
Our
this
deck is
deck's coming
cool.
together.
This is a sick plan. In my head, I just hear Michael and Ryan just like turning off
Yeah.
the stream and just like. Actually, our viewer count just went down because of this.
All right. Well,
all because
I'll
of
see
this.
myself out.
I think they all saw themselves out. They're like, no, we're done here. I mean, this deck sounds like it's cooking. All I'm saying, I can't cook, so your oven's probably
It's
on
doing
fire here too. Darth Revan is a Sith. How do we feel
Yeah.
about him as a leader?
Unplayable, unfortunately.
I don't love him.
Okay.
I like what his ability does, like attacking the units, but just like his stats and single aspect. Ugh, I don't know.
Do you think
Why isn't
somebody-
he a 5'8"?
Yeah.
Jeff Creasy just said that they made a second account to add another view because of this segment. I appreciate you. I appreciate that.
Don't encourage him.
There, sometimes you really gotta get down there and really go through the mud and the muck and really just find these. And you know this because leading up to Richmond, you were doing that. You were looking at like good old open space open fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made the list.
Yeah.
Base
you
open
were
fire,
deep in-
good.
He was like in there really, really deep. So we're just doing it preemptively.
That's it. That's all you get. He's just in there real deep.
I'm not. We're gonna leave it at that.
All right.
So, but anything else you guys want to say about the new set?
I don't know. I'm excited, man. I love like week one of new metas. It's my favorite thing in any card game.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with their decision to have Galactics be like the first major event of the set. I think that's just going to be such an awesome time for the community. Just whatever people cook up, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that was Magic used to do that for their pro tours, and that was like awesome when you're watching Magic and you're like, what are the pros playing? What are the pro teams playing? And really seeing what everybody's coming to the event with. And I think that this set has enough potential to shake up the thing, because that was like the concern with the set one decks was like, oh, nothing's changed, everything's basically the same. But I think this has enough that it's really gonna shake some things up, just from what we initially see. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm curious to see like how it. I at this point I haven't seen any like Django level threat, so I'm like curious to see if like a team figures out some Django level threat, but no one knew about it. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of that, I skipped over this completely. We can touch it real quick. Anything that I take it by that there's nothing that seems like it should be banned going into the new set. But is there anything that maybe you're like, I could see that coming off and coming back? Not DJ. We already know how you feel. That's a biased take. So other than DJ,
I would be fine with not banning DJ, but
no.
It's probably not good for the game.
Next topic.
Boba.
Yeah, I don't think you
Oh,
can.
boy.
I don't think you can unsuspend anything. I think they're all too powerful, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they're just going to be better, right? Like no matter what cards came out, everything else gets better, but so do the things that got banned. So
yeah,
it's just too much. I don't think it's worth risking for Galactics, right? Like if this was a stale meta and maybe they weren't like there wasn't anything crazy besides like sectors and regionals, and it was like early in like the beginning of a like rotation or something or whatever, and they took something away, and then they knew that like the next set was like an answer to whatever card it was, then they can like unleash it back in. But I don't think we've seen that yet. So
Yeah, I'd be curious if there's a world where you could bring back just Django and remove some cards, like some of the ping effects to like maybe like one of them. With TDR gone, how does that look? Would be a curious thing for me. You're shaking your head no, but you just said to unban DJ. I don't know if your opinion's valid anymore.
I think DJ is less toxic than Django.
There's
I think.
no shot.
I think it invalidates more things.
Yeah. Wait, Django or DJ?
Django.
You think Django invalidates more things?
I think Django invalidates creature-based decks, which is not what they want. DJ invalidates 6 deploy leaders and above, but even then, it doesn't always do it. Like there's more counterplay, but you can't counterplay like the Django tap. Like your unit's gonna get tapped. They just have to play a card that does it.
Yeah.
So
Like you can't remove Django's ability from the board.
Sure.
You can remove the DJ and get your resource
So
back.
when Han goes, would you be fine with it then? I think I'd be fine when Han goes.
That DJ can come back.
If eternal formats exist, right? Like it's like say we were going into an eternal.
I see what you're saying.
Because they're going to rotate together. In the eternal format, a world where Han leaves, DJ stays. I think that I would be more inclined to be fine with that because then you can't just blow up your resource.
Yeah, I think he'd be unplayable without Han, right? Probably.
Well, it's just like a 3/5. You would play it if you're playing like
Sure.
I want a 3/5 Underworld in my deck.
Yeah,
Right.
and it has upside, and it like turns you off with Super Laser Blast for a turn. Even if you like kill the unit, you still can rearrange your resources to tap it, and then
I'm pretty sure that the way that the Eternal formats work, though, is that everything that's on the suspension ban would be unbanned or unsuspended.
Yeah.
So like
that makes sense.
I think it would be fine to leave DJ in if Boba's there. Because Boba is like the natural predator to the Han decks. At least it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't be in whatever crazy Eternal format that there is. But if they're gonna let Django and Boba come back, I feel like you just have to let DJ come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And just how prevalent or how supported will the Eternal format be? Because we won't
because
see that until next year.
In both cases of Boba and Django, their weakest matchups were like hard control decks, right? And the best thing against hard control decks is DJ. Right. I know, like best in air quotes.
Yeah.
But the best thing against those hard control decks was DJ. So like maybe they would want it in there for balance reasons. I'm still convinced that they didn't ban DJ at the start of set 3 because they had realized they messed up with Django, and they're like, well, the only way to really beat Django is these like really hard control decks, which like it turns out didn't even do that, but in their minds did that. And then Han with DJ would kind of counteract that, and you would have this like rock paper scissors type of meta, which like didn't end up happening. But
well, I heard that there was like an insane deck that would beat these decks that we just never found. That's what I heard.
At that point, they should just leak it themselves and be like, "Hey, have you guys tried this?" And then if they go like mono blue Finn, then we're just like, "All right, you guys need to hire new people." Like, that's not it.
Dude, Rose Tico Finn coming out, like okay. So, all right. Well, I think that's about everything. Before we go ahead and head off, I do want to go ahead and shout out John Tata and the KTOD team. They are putting on this week. They're going to drop an episode. I believe it's Thursday, correct?
It'll come out Thursday.
Okay. And both Ian and Andrew are going to be on that show. It's called Underwhelming Barrage. If you've ever seen on ESPN Around the Horn, it's going to be that type of style of show. And if you've never watched it, basically what it is, you're going to have a host that's going to ask questions. They're going to get into debates, and they're going to be, unfiltered, and they're going to have crazy takes. So if you want good crazy takes, I definitely suggest going and watching it. The lineup, I believe, it's you two and who else?
I think it's Dark Tyler from McClunky and Chrono CJ from KTOD.
Okay, awesome. So it's all four of you. There's going to be, if you ever wanted to see War of the Teams, that's basically what this is going to be. We got our hot takes. We sent Andrew as our person of choice. Actually, he volunteered as tribute. None of us did that.
You guys can go on the next one.
Yeah,
we'll rotate.
We'll see who goes on the next one. But it should be a lot of fun. I don't know the frequency in which he's going to do it, but definitely go ahead and check that out. I believe he has his own YouTube page, so I'll go ahead and link that as well. I'll make sure to put that in the comment section here. But definitely give that a check out. It drops on Thursday, so check that out. Also, please go ahead and like, subscribe, share our podcast. We love going ahead and doing this every day or every Monday. Every day.
Nope, it's every day now.
Yeah, geez, no, I can't do it every day. So absolutely love doing this, interacting when we can in the chat. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate the support. We are going. I know I'm playing in several PQs. I've got Maryland, probably Philadelphia, and West Virginia that I'll be going to. A bunch of the secret members are going to go there as well. I believe we're putting bounties on our heads like we did at Minnesota. More than likely, if you're not familiar, we put bounties on our heads. You beat us, you get a pack, and then if you're not subscribed and you subscribe in front of us, you get another pack. So, I had in Minnesota some people pulled some crazy things. One guy pulled a home one and a Poe, and another guy pulled a planetary bombardment in front of me, and I was just
Nice.
like, I wish my pack luck was this good. Like it was pretty insane. But none of us have had somebody pull a showcase yet, and that's the big one. So we're looking forward to somebody pulling the showcase. So,
Yeah.
but again, share it for us, like, subscribe, and have an absolutely wonderful week. And if you're playing any PQs this weekend, best of luck to you, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks for having me on.